Welcome to the video. So today I'm going to be trying to paint Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh in Vermillion VR painting, which is on the Oculus Quest 2. So those of you who have been watching my videos for some time now, very much into VR. I play VR games. I do a lot of VR painting, both in Vermillion and in painting VR. Some even in Kingsbury Graffiti, and basically any painting app that I find, I like to give it a go. This is one of my go-tos, this and painting VR. And I do a mix of different paintings. I do originals myself. I do a lot of fan art from, there's some Five Nights at Freddy's there. There's some Walking Dead, Resident Evil. There's all sorts that I do. I've painted my dog, Lucy. I've even painted myself. So, done varying different styles. I have replicated the Scream, so if you haven't seen that one, go check that out. I'm going to now do the Starry Night. Now this could go very well or very bad depending on how you want to play it. So we're going to start off with a bit of blue, and I'm going to use the fan brush, but I'm going to go bristle fan brush, so we're just going to try and get a base layer going, and it goes down to about here, and then you've got your mountain scenery, so we'll get that going. I'm sure this isn't how he did it, but when it comes to VR painting and digital painting, some of the techniques do have to change to allow for the technology to try and replicate what a man or woman and a paintbrush can do on a canvas. Because although they are very good and they replicate things very well, it's never 100%, and the brushes don't necessarily behave in the same manner. So you do have to sometimes take liberties or choose different kind of brushes depending on what you're going to do. So now I can see the way that Van Gogh did it. He used a very fine brush and did some unique patterns. In the interest of time, speed, I'm going to use varying different styles here. For some reason that doesn't want to go on the way that I planned it. Let's maybe make that darker. And we just want really big waves going on here for the sky. So stay tuned to see how this actually turns out, because the Scream one did turn out okay. I mean, it didn't look exact. But as a VR interpretation, I was quite pleased with how that actually turned out in the end. And then we'll just kind of mix these up a little bit and give it the swirl and technique that is famous in that sky. Now we're also going to add a little bit of white in here. Not too much, but just enough so that when we mix it, it will create a nice pattern. So we'll come back across with that and just really let those colours mix together and create our sky. Okay, so we've got a sky. Now we need to create these little stars and swirls here. So what I'm going to do is come across again with the fan brush and just follow this pattern here, which is a big swirl. Comes down like that, and then it goes across. Like that. And then with the same colour, we're going to come up here. Again, I'm still using the fan brush because I find this seems to be layering the paint on in the way that I would find most appropriate. We'll add some other colours in there, and we're just going to blend this in a little bit. Comes this dark hilly formation, and we'll get to our tree. We'll just leave that out for now. So continuing on with the hill formation in the background, still using the fan brush, and as I say, it may not look like much right now, but hopefully with a bit of luck we'll get some results coming on. Some lighter fields here. These are farmers' fields, I believe, in the moonlight, the starry night, which of course creates a kind of bluey effect. Put a base layer of blue on, just so we can see where that's going to be and how it's going to look. So I don't want to do everything on the same layer. Or we may, depending on how things turn out. Got a good mix going on. Okay, so we've got our base, and I'm all about that base. So what do we need now? We need these little stars coming on. So I don't think I'm going to use the fan brush for this. What I am going to use is the bristle 1" for the big sun. But then I might move on to the smaller brushes here. So maybe the pointed round or the rigger brush to do the smaller stars. So let's try and get this in here. Now it is fairly big. Put a bit of white in there. Maybe a bit of orange. Who knows? You do what you gotta do. A bit more yellow. Let that just mix. There we go. Then we need to actually paint the moon, which is like an orange yellowy colour. So we'll put that there, and then we'll do our moon. Maybe it needs a bit of extra definition on here. Blend that in. There we go. There's our moon. Thinned out with a bit of white, and it just comes out in all these different lines here. And I'll do that for the rest of the sky at some point. But for now, I want to make sure the moon looks okay. Okay. So yeah, I'm happy with how that's turning out for now. So we've got our moons, we've got our wave. In fact, here, look, this is what I'm talking about. We can come across with our white lines on here at any time we wish. And my lines are a little bit bigger than his, but we won't criticise. It's not about how big they are. And then I'll just blend that in a little bit, and the same with this here. So just so that they're not too in your face. Okay, coming back to the fan brush. No, we don't. We want the pointed round, and we want to continue on with the same starry colour. We don't want the same definition as we do as the sun, because it's not as bright as the sun. Our stars here. I'm going to do the main shapes first, and then we're going to come in with the lights and the whites. They're all different shapes and sizes, so it doesn't matter if it's perfect. And then there's a little one down here near the moon. Oh, and we've missed this huge one here, which does have a big white outer area. So you can see how this thing's taken shape now. I think I'm just going to put a little bit more yellow in the middle so we don't lose that. Then we'll go ahead. I'll probably use the rigger just because some of these are a bit smaller. And again, come back in with the yellow. Now if I wanted to, which I may do in the end, is if I make my canvas bigger, my line strokes will be smaller. However, I'm happy with how things are going right now. I'm just going to keep going and see what we come up with. This is the first attempt live. Well, not live, but on the video. So I have done this painting in acrylic at home on canvas. I haven't done it in VR before. So go easy in the comments. And I did follow a very different technique. But it's all about interpretation. You know, I'm sure the finished product will look nice regardless. Oh, we've missed a little little star over here. Yeah, I'm sure it'll look good regardless. Because the concept of the painting is, you know, it's a masterpiece. So any interpretation of it that's close to the product is going to look good. That's my thought process anyway. I mean, I could be wrong. This could turn out to be a disaster. I hope not. I have had a few disasters in the past, but fingers crossed this isn't one of them. So you can see this. You can see what they are. This is stars coming in, the moon, and then we're going to work our way down the painting and then back up with the tree. We're just going to put some definition on here. We're going to add some white highlight, and then we're going to add some dark tones as well, just to define it as best we can. We'll come in with some dark blue and just go under these. And ideally, I'm going to blend this in anyway, because I think some of the lines are a bit too harsh. And like I said, maybe come across the top with some yellows, just to show the light shining on it. Back with our blender brush, just give it a bit of blend. Coming with the fan brush a bit smaller this time, but there we go. Blend that in even more. Smooth out the colours, get it to mix a little bit. Our light blue hills here. There they are. And they go up to about there. And then they come down to about here. And they go about there. And they come down in lines. Just replicate what we're seeing, and that'll be your highlights again. Come back with our fan brush, give that a bit of a mix. Right, so our darker hills follow a similar pattern. There's a little white building over here. So we'll put that in first, just so we know where that's going to be. Shrubbery thing here, so put that in before we forget. And then also gives us indication of where the tree's going to go as well. The tree probably comes about here. Put some brown in, just so we can see it. So that's where our tree's going to be. It's all following a similar pattern. And then they even extend to behind these blue ones here. It comes up and goes over there. Now it has this weird, almost seal's head-like shape. Put a bit more black in just to override the lights that it's mixing with. Okay, and that has some blue lines coming down it. Maybe with the fan brush, get a bit more softness to it. See what we can do about this. So we've got some little buildings going on. So probably going to use the white for this. So over across from our tree, we've got a little chapel. This little chapel goes about here. And the chapel has a spire on top which runs up here. And then within that we have a couple of windows. And we have a roof. And then there's a little white building coming off it. Brick buildings coming off in the distance here. So I'm just going to give a hint of those, because they're going to be hidden by our tree anyway. Maybe some orange highlights in there. There's this little orangey bit here under some trees. So I'm going to get some orange and yellow, and it goes from around the spire and it goes up here. And I'm just going to emphasize it. I'm not going to do too much in there, because then we're going to cover it with trees anyway, which is kind of a bluey greeny colour, and that comes up kind of on here. I think I may have done too much. So just give the impression of, and then again with some more highlights, just touch in here. Not too much. The chapel itself. We would have put in the rest of our little houses. So there's one just below the chapel here, almost like a shed, like a little shanty house. You've got a bluey brown little house coming down from that. I realise I haven't necessarily done this to scale, and there's a bit of an issue with the amount of space I have left versus the amount of houses that I've got to do. But like I said, I'm going to have to take some liberties on this. And that comes down with a little bit of brown. Okay, and then we've got our bluey house that comes off from that. Building going between these trees. In fact, I don't even think it's building, I think it's land. So we'll have to, given that I don't know what exactly everything is, there might be some areas that you don't necessarily think are what they're supposed to be. And this one, black roof. We're going to give this one some lights turned on, just like in the image. In fact, we're going to do that here as well. And maybe in the chapel as well. There we go, give it a bit of life. And then we're going to do another house across from that. Highlight lines in there as well. Just adding onto our tree some more root lines. And we're just going smaller than we were last time. And just make sure our tree has lots of different colours in it, but maintaining the shape of the tree. Make sure we've got dark green going on. Just spread that. Little places everywhere. Continuing on with the pattern and style of the painting. Blend those colours together. Maybe some more of this needed in the top. Blend again. There we go. Okay. Just going to go back in on our little shrubbery and add some more colour to that. I think it was feeling a bit lonely. But I'm also going to blend it with the rigger brush just to stretch out some of these lines again. Okay. So I'm happy with that. So there you go. There is Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh, replicated in VR as best I could, within an acceptable time frame. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you like it, or what your thoughts are in the comments. And thanks for watching. Thank you.